All right, let's talk tariffs here. First, they're on, now they're off. Well, sort of. The ups and downs of months of uncertainty hang over the ongoing trade war thanks to Donald Trump's tariff threats. Let's bring in our Parliament Hill correspondent, Glen McGregor, who's been watching this closely. Glen, once again, so many twists and turns. I got to ask, where are we landing today?
We're landing with a bad case of whiplash from all these tariff back and forth. I think in this trade war, which is not over yet, we are into kind of a ceasefire phase right now. Of course, let's recap what happened just in the last 24 hours. President Donald Trump from the Oval Office signed an executive order saying that the tariffs on Canada and Mexico would be put into a 30-day hiatus. So they would be paused until April 2nd, but only for exports and imports that are covered under the USMCA, the CUSMA, the NAFTA 2.2 agreement between the three countries. So we have a pause now, and in that pause, the Canadian side responded last night, a statement from Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc saying Canada is going to pause for the same length of time, for the same period, its counter tariffs of up to $125 billion worth of U.S. goods that we're going to be hit with the 25% tariff rate. That will stay; those will be held off until the same April 2nd date. But the $30 billion of goods that are being tariffed by Canada, that will stay in place for now. Things could change a lot, though, next week, because what happens then is that the tariffs are a separate set of tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, 25% tariff on both, kind of echoing what Trump did in his first term back in 2018 when he put 25% tariff on steel and 10% on aluminum. That led to a lengthy trade dispute. We also took countermeasures back then, counter tariffs, and ultimately those tariffs were dropped, but it took a long time and it was pretty damaging to the Canadian metals industry. So this is kind of where we are at this hour, and as you say, this keeps changing really by the hour. Now this morning, the industry minister, François-Philippe Champagne, was on breakfast television, and of course, tariffs front of mind. Listen to what he's had to say today.
One thing we've learned, Karen, over time is really to take it step by step, to listen to the comments made by the president, but to really look at the executive order and the fine prints. You know, we've been there before. There's a lot of question out there. And I would say, Karen, there's like policy fatigue in a way. You know, the markets have spoken this week. The unions have spoken. Workers, industry has spoken in the United States. I think people are saying that this, uncertainty cannot become the new certainty.
Champagne talking about policy fatigue, a new term I haven't heard, but it's pretty apt. I can tell you one of the concerns that you don't hear expressed publicly a lot by Canadian officials, but is really worrying them, is all this uncertainty is seeping into the investment community. They are really concerned that until this is ultimately resolved, whether it's in April or sometime after that, until the markets know exactly what's going to happen, people are not going to invest in Canadian companies, either foreign investors or domestic investors. Say you have a company that makes sheet metal products. Are you really going to put in a whole bunch of your own money now to upgrade it, to improve the productivity? And Canada definitely has a productivity problem, and a large part of that problem, as Champagne will tell you, is because of the lack of investment. There's a lot more investment going on in the United States. Canada's investment has improved over recent years. We're getting better and better at bringing in foreign investment into Canada, but that effort could really be damaged by all this uncertainty about tariffs. Yeah, it looks like at the moment we are kind of winning the trade war in the sense that the U.S. has sort of backed down a couple of times now, first on the auto sector, then it looked like it was going to back down on agricultural products, and then it backed down yesterday on these broader 25% tariffs. But this uncertainty kind of hangs over the Canadian economy like the sword of Damocles that could drop at any time starting next week with those metal tariffs. We're going to see later today, and Faiza, I have a feeling we're going to be talking again today about another change in this, but we'll see exactly when that comes. Maybe we can make it into the weekend without any major developments on this story. And then, of course, we're looking towards Liberal leadership on Sunday, and we'll have full coverage of that on 24/7.
It's really a case of the whiplash, like you said, back and forth here. Glen McGregor will, of course, keep checking in with you later on. Thank you so much.
Thanks.